Market update here on the 9th. So we got to move lower finally, down 0.78%. So the question is, did we top out here? I would say that we potentially did, but it's not certain yet because we have a corrective move down here. So we could have topped out, but we also might have more move to the upside, like I said. So if we topped out here, we did fill the gap exactly. So everyone back here was saying, we filled the gap, and I was like, no, we did not fill the gap yet. We filled the gap right here, 438.50. So the one thing that's good though, if this is the top, this structure right here means that we are making a corrective move down. We can't start an impulse move with this kind of structure. So that means if we come down here, that means we're making a corrective move down. The second possibility is we're coming down here to 430 and then we go to new highs, and that ends up being a fourth wave. So we'll kind of see what happens tomorrow. Don't really care which way, because either way we should be going higher. It looks like it's going to be consolidation, and that would actually invalidate the move I talked about yesterday, the bearish move. That would just mean that we're going to get something like maybe this, or something like that, or this is a fourth wave, and if it's a fourth wave, we would just get something like that. So I think it can be a fourth wave. It could be the top two, but again, it's probably a fourth wave, just based on this structure right here. Unless the fifth wave ended right here. The fifth wave could have ended right here. Let me zoom in a little bit farther. So fifth wave might have ended right there as well. That's possible. So we'll see. But I'm expecting a little bit more downside on the short term down here to 430.83, just because there's a gap there. And we did fill this gap right here perfectly. We hit the biggest daily supply zone on the chart. And that's the thing. If you waited, if you're patient enough and you just waited and you played calls all the way to the very top and hit right here, which is a lot of what supply and demand traders do, they just made, because I didn't do this today, they just made $5 on that fall. So shows you how important supply and demand is, basically. So that is SPY. Let's look at QQQ. And QQQ, the exact same thing. Look at this. We are let's see, 6 cents short of hitting it and then sold off. So it didn't quite get there, but maybe my box is a little bit off too. And then we went straight down and we're almost hitting this demand zone right here. And this is a B wave right here. So that's kind of why I'm leaning towards a fourth wave and this being a third wave. I'm looking at this as like that. And I think that's probably a third wave right there. So I'm guessing we're going to go higher after that. I'm guessing 376, potentially 382. But again, corrective move. If that's the start of a second wave, then we would look for a pullback to 357. So we'll see what happens tomorrow. If it holds this box right here and we get a nice impulse move out of it, nice bounce, we're probably going to go new highs. If we get a little, shallow bounce here, we're probably going to come down here to 363 and then probably just make our way down here to 357. So it really needs to hold this box at 368 to make a new high. If it breaks that, I think we're done with this move and we're probably coming all the way down here to 357. So tomorrow that box is very important. SPYs is a little bit lower though, so if it comes all the way down here to the box, depending on where the first wave ended, that would probably be, that'd be right in the 0.38 fib, 430. So We'll see what happens tomorrow. Maybe SPY will be down a little bit more than QQQ. They're even today, and we'll see what happens. Tesla. I haven't been paying attention to SPY and QQQ as much because I've been trading Tesla a lot. And last night, like I said, I had puts right here. The reason I had puts is because I think I said in the video that I was leaning towards puts. There was a chance that this was going to be like a nested wave 3, but I was leaning towards puts. So I made some pretty good money on this move right here. I was in and out though. I sold some at 214, and then I reloaded when it didn't really bounce. I reloaded right here, sold at like 210, reloaded, sold at 207, and got out when this, I got out right here on this move right here because it looked like a wave 3, and then it came back in here. I got out at 208.83, and I never entered again because that invalidated the 5-wave move down. And then sure enough, we got this move, which looked like it could come down here and fill the gap, but that was a B wave. I think we're in a C wave right here because this is a B wave right here. So A, B, C, like that. So tomorrow I'm expecting upside early in the morning, just based on the finish. Let's go down to 1 minute. So if this was wave 1 right here, it's kind of sloppy on the 1 minute. Let's just say, I don't know if that's wave 1 or not. But anyway, the 1.61 fib of this move, it hit perfectly right here. And then we got a move right here. So I guess if this is an ABC move, it could be the top right here. But I'm leaning towards a move higher tomorrow morning. And then I'm expecting another sell-off. So let's zoom out and look at it on the hourly. So there's two possibilities for this. First one is this is an ABC move. However, if it is an ABC move, it's going a little bit too far. We've already hit the 1.61 fib. It can do that sometimes. We do have a gap here, so maybe that's the reason it's going lower. So it can still be ABC. The second possibility is that this was the 4th wave right here. So first, actually, let's go over this first. This can be A, B, C, like that. If it goes down here to 205, maybe it won't make it there, but that is the bullish possibility. But if it comes up here, it's probably going to 242. Let's look at the 1.61 fib. Yeah, so 245. So that's the first bullish possibility. That actually fits in with the thesis that SPY and QQQ are in a 4th wave and we're going to go higher, because then Tesla would probably lead the way. So that's the bullish possibility. I'm leaning towards that way. The bearish possibility, bears would say that this is a wave 1, wave 2, and we are in wave 3. And then this is like that. So then you have a sub wave right here, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So we would actually be in wave 3 of 3, which is usually the most bullish or bearish, and it is. You can see this huge wave 3 of 3. So actually this is wave 3 of 3 of 3. So we finished this though. This is 5 waves, so we're in a 4th wave like I said. I'm expecting this to turn green before we see a next move down. So either it's going to bottom right here when we hit into this demand zone, which I'm leaning towards because we have demand right here. Or we're going to get a bounce out of demand after this 3rd wave, and we're going to go right through demand, and then we're going to bounce and come down here to this demand zone at 180, potentially 178. So take your pick. I'm leaning towards the upside though, just based on what I think the market's going to do. So I would expect Tesla to hit potentially 240 within the next, this move should end tomorrow. So we're looking at probably by next OPEC. So we're probably going to have a huge week next week if it's bullish. I would expect this. Basically. 245 right here. And then again, that could be wave 3 as well. That could still be wave 3. It could be ABC or wave 3. If it's wave 3, then people are going to still be confused at that point because they're going to be like, well, what the heck? We sold off all this time. You're bearish right here. Now we're at 245. And then people are going to try to short. And they'll get right here. And then it'll be a bear trap. And then, boom, we take off higher. And then we're off to the races. So we'll see which one happens. But tomorrow, expect a little bit of upside in the morning. And then more downside into this demand zone. Apple doing what I talked about in the video yesterday. It is, let's see, 1, 2. It could be topped out, I guess. If this is the, that could be the top right there at 184. That is into a big, there's a big supply zone here that I erased for some reason. Big supply zone right here, it's in right now. So Apple might have topped out. So that kind of goes against the narrative that we are going to go higher from here. And we'll see what happens with Apple. It could be in a fourth wave, but it might have topped out as well. My count is looking at it like this could be a short fifth wave, or it's making a second wave of a fifth wave because we do have more upside here for gap fills at 190. So look out for that. It's almost topped out, or it already has topped out. Microsoft, same thing. Again, I'm looking for 370 on Microsoft, so that kind of fits the narrative of we're going to go higher. Did sell off today, maybe a little bit more downside tomorrow. And, whoops. And we do have that demand zone at 357. Let's look at the dollar. So the dollar, not really that much movement today. But you can see here that it's just a corrective move. Like I said, that's bearish for equities because that means we're going higher at some point. But maybe it does something like this first. That would make a lot of sense just based on the length of this move right here. So my count was this was a fifth wave right here, but again, we could go higher from here, or we're going to make a move like this. But again, it's bearish for equities. At some point, we're going to pull back hard. I don't know if it's going to be soon. It just kind of depends on how long they want to make this corrective wave go. Are we going to sit in this range for a while? I don't know. The VIX. So the VIX, nice bounce out of the demand zone. But again, like I said, we're probably going lower in the VIX because we have a 5-wave move going here. I want to see a little bit more downside to get a green candle going into the weekend. And then next week into OPEX, we can go down lower. Amazon. Amazon finally put in a red day. And let's just look at where it's at. Amazon's probably going to 145. So I think it has more upside as well. And again, that's probably going to play out like Maybe. I think so. But that's a pretty big drop. That's a 20% drop. So we'll see. I don't know. Some of these charts are bearish, some of them are bullish. I guess the bearish possibility is always there, considering that the dollar is pretty bearish for equities. And, you know, Tesla has a bear count. These both have a pullback count as well, but I think right now we're probably going to see more upside. We'll see what happens when Amazon gets to 145. After that, we'll be able to tell more when it pulls back for real. Excuse me. What else we got here? Meta. And then I'll do NVIDIA, and that'll be it. So Meta still in that same spot. Hasn't really done anything for me to make any new observations on this. Probably going to pull back here. Maybe this is a WXY move. And we're just going to get something like this. So that would be about a 10% drop. Something like that. But again, I'm not bullish on Meta here. I think it needs to pull back down here before we can go higher. NVIDIA straight line up, hit 482 at one point and broke right through the supply zone. Filled this gap right here. Get rid of that. That supply zone does not really matter. And pulled back though into the end of the day to 469, so a nice drop there. But I think it's probably going to go higher into earnings. I think earnings are on the 21st. They're probably going to drag this out until earnings, I would think. But maybe it will drop. Maybe it will start dropping down here. Again, this can still be a pattern like this. Actually lower than that. It still can do that. That would end up being an ABC move and would make this into a expanded flat B wave. Potentially 352, but that's kind of a big drop. So we'll see what happens. Really all you need to pay attention to though is we can go anywhere from, it could potentially go all the way up here to 530 and it wouldn't be it wouldn't be crazy just based on this being an expanded flat. But based on where we're at, I would say that 495 or 500 is a pretty good target if we get more upside. Let's zoom in here a little bit farther actually and just see. So it's going to fill this gap right here at 466. And this is obviously an impulse move. So that could have been the top as well, 482. So I'll be looking at this short term right here between 464 and 466. And then that's going to be either a first wave or an A wave. We're going to get a bounce after that, probably. And yeah, so that does actually look like it could be the top. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That could be the top right there. So a lot of mixed signals. I think there's they either topped out or they are all going to go up a little bit higher. And yeah, that's the bull case, bear case for stocks. Did we top out here or are we going to go higher? You tell me in the comments. I think on SPY, I'm looking for at least 430. QQQ, looking for 369.26. Probably a little bit lower than that, maybe like 368. And tomorrow should be another red day, at least the beginning. And I'm expecting Tesla to go lower to at least 204 or 205. So maybe a little bit of green in the morning and then a sell-off in the afternoon. And maybe a little bit of red going into the end of the week to make everyone bearish again over the weekend, and then we're probably going to rip next week into OPEX. But But after OPEC, I think we're going to be pretty bearish. So that's kind of my thesis over the next week or so. I'll leave it at that for now. Let me know what you think. Like, subscribe for more updates. Catch you in the next video.